Korea's shrinking school-age population has left nearly 400 elementary schools, including branch campuses, out of more than 6,200 nationwide, with only one or no new students enrolling this year, according to government data.
국내 학령 인구 감소로 인해서 school age population이 감소함에 따라서 전국 6,288개 초등학교 중에서요. 올해 학생을 아예 받지 않거나 한 명만 받은 초등학교가 분교를 포함해서 자그마치 400개 교에 달하는 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah, so we know that the population is shrinking here in Korea, and a good indication of that is the school enrollment numbers. And it's actually shrinking very fast. If you look at this, back in 2017, just 200 schools reported just one or no new student. But last year, that increased, it actually doubled to 400 students.
My goodness.
And the number of children aged 5 to 9 has fallen 18%. And I guess the byproduct of that, also recruitment for teachers is going down as well.
Right. So this phenomena has been expected for so many years, actually, many decades, I would say. 사실 수십 년 전에도 이런 것을 우리가 예측을 하긴 했었습니다만은, but it's happening a lot like more faster than was expected.
Yeah, and this number is showing that within the past 6-7 years, I guess, the doubling of this student enrollment. We're seeing a lot of school closures. And by region, North Gyeongsang had the largest number of schools with 0 or 1 incoming student. So I guess if you're the only student in your grade, you're always going to be 1등, huh? I suppose. Which is a sad thing. Yeah, but unfortunately, yeah.
아, 그렇죠. 잘만 하면 어딜 가나 1등을 할 수도 있겠다 싶기도 하지만 네. 자, 임용 교사의 수도 줄고 있다는 것은 뭐 우리가 사실 예상할 수도 있는 일인데 아까 말씀하신 그게 이제 byproduct라는 말씀 주셨는데 이로 인한 뭐 부산물이라고 하긴 좀 그렇지만 이로 인해서 우리가 곁따라 생각할 수 있는 또 일어나고 있는 그런 현상을 말씀 주셨습니다. 그렇죠. falling enrollment라고 하셔서 그러니까 등록하는 학생 수가 떨어지고 있다라는 뜻으로 말하고 있군요. 네. 자, 여기서 school age population이란 얘기가 나옵니다. Is it really commonly used in daily conversation, would you say?
Well, if you're talking about statistics and studies, you will hear it a lot. So school age population, you can talk about any other sort of population. Just be careful here because school age is an adjective. It's talking about the population, so there's a hyphen in between school and age. But of course, it's referring to the group of people within the age range, typically from elementary to high school, around what is it, age 7 to 18, roughly, depending on the country.
I would say so.
Yeah, so in this case, we're talking about a study. So the school age population, we're talking about anyone that's enrolled in school.
Right. So if you put it in a sentence, then school age population is shrinking.
Yes. Exactly.
그런 식으로. 그러니까 참 이게 헷갈리네요. 학력이 아니라 학령이 되겠습니다. 학령 인구가 이제 줄고 있다, shrinking 되고 있다라고 얘기 나오고 있는데, 자 그러다 보니까 그 enrollment 아까 잠깐 얘기했었지만 it's going down as well.
Yeah, so enrollment would be when you officially register or sign up for something. But in this case, we're talking about school. So as a noun form, you would say school enrollment is shrinking. But as a verb, you would say I enrolled in school. My son or daughter enrolls in middle school next year, for example. And just be aware the spelling is different between American English and British English. So AE is EN, ROLL.
Okay, that's American English.
That's American English. BE, the Brits will spell it as ENROL.
이것도 알아놓으면 참 좋겠네요. 그죠? 그래서 입학을 하다. So like you just said, I enrolled in this language course. 이렇게 말할 수도 있고 내가 입학을 했다 혹은 등록했다라고도 할 수가 있는 거고 or you can also say I enrolled my kid to a certain program. 이렇게 말할 수도 있는 거군요.
Yeah, but typically we talk about it in official settings like schools. If you were to do it for, let's say, a contest or a sweepstakes, you could say I enrolled in the contest, but in that case you would just say I signed up or I registered for something.
How about enter?
Enter, it would be more of a contest, but you wouldn't use that for a school because that's too casual. So unless you're physically entering the building, I entered school. Or you could say, I guess you could say I entered university in 19XX.
Isn't that why we call it entrance exam?
Entrance exam, yes. In that
그렇죠.
case, you could use it. Yes.
그렇죠. 입학을 하는데 아까 말씀하신 것처럼 어떤 process is focused, then you could probably want to use this particular word, enroll. 그런데 if you want to describe what is happening as it is, then you might want to say enter.
Sure.
Like entering the gate of the school, of course,
Exactly.
figuratively speaking. 그렇죠. 그러니까 입학을 하다, 등록을 하다, 특히 학교 같은 기관에 입학을 한다라고 할 때 ENROLL 자주 볼 수 있는 단어가 되겠습니다. So here's the story once again. Korea's shrinking school-age population has left nearly 400 elementary schools, including branch campuses, out of more than 6,200 nationwide, with only one or no new students enrolling this year, according to government data. All right, so let's move on to our second headline, shall we?
Korean football star Son Heung-min has made a strong debut for Los Angeles Football Club in an away match, winning a crucial penalty that helped his team secure an equalizer.
로스앤젤레스 FC에 입단한 한국의 축구 스타 손흥민 선수가 팀의 원정 경기에서 치른 데뷔전에서 페널티킥을 얻어내면서 동점골을 확보하는데 결정적인 역할을 했습니다.
Yes. Are you a sports fan, Sam?
I
sports
wouldn't
fan?
necessarily say so, but 손흥민 is, of course, it's everybody's heart, I would say.
Right. I'm a huge Son Heung-min fan. I'm a big sports fan.
Me
And I
too.
watched this game live yesterday.
Oh, did
and
you?
It was very impressive. He played very well. He didn't start the match. He substituted in the 61st minute, I believe, and he made a very good impression. He didn't score any goals, but he was actually awarded a penalty kick, and one of his teammates shot and scored the goal. The team tied 2-2. But his next game will be hopefully back at home. This was an away match in
Right.
Chicago. So I'm curious. He must be very jet lagged because
I know, I was going to say.
right? Because he said goodbye to Tottenham, flew all the way to Los Angeles, had his press conference, and now, in just a couple of days later, he's now in Chicago, which is about a 4-hour plane ride away as well. So he must be physically and mentally tired as well.
Exactly. You just brought up a very interesting point. If you think about it, I don't think I've ever really heard him saying or complaining about jet lag.
Yeah.
아직 좀 제가 피곤해서요. 뭐 저 잘해야죠. 이런 얘기를 한 거는 제가 못 들었던 것 같아요.
Yeah, it's part of his job, though. Professional athletes have to travel a lot. So to complain about that would be complaining about your job, and I don't think that would
So
be...
he embraces it all then.
He has to.
He has to.
But I also don't think they're flying economy or coach, right? They have
yeah.
chartered planes that they're flying in. So
Doesn't
a little
matter,
different
you
from
know.
you and me, right? Yeah.
Different from you and me.
Yes.
Of course. 그렇죠. 우리 같은 일반인하고 같을 리가 없죠. 물론 충분히 잘 대접받고 다니시겠지만 그래도 얼마나 피곤하겠어요. It's easy to imagine how exhausted he must be, really.
Yeah, and his body is it's his asset. It's part of his job, so he needs to
Right.
take care of it. So I understand why they
yes.
need to do that.
Okay, so I saw many celebrities in California, especially in California, they said that they posted like a welcoming message on their social media channels.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson was one of them.
The mayor of LA was at his press conference,
Right.
Karen Bass. So this is a very good signing. There's a big Korean population, obviously, in Southern California. So best of luck to Sunny.
그렇습니다.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the expressions, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. To make a strong debut.
Oh, he made a strong debut.
Yeah. So when you, I guess, appear or perform in a way that's very impressive, successful and memorable for the very first time. Athletes can do that. An actor can do that. A business can make a strong debut, for example.
That's right. So if you take a look at the context once again, Son Heung-min has made a strong debut for LA Football Club in an away match. 그러니까 make a strong debut for certain team. 이렇게 말하게 되네요.
Yeah, and this is interesting because you can just say debut as a verb. So Son Heung-min debuted
Right.
for LAFC, but here we say made a strong debut and we make the debut a noun.
Then can I say he debuted in a very strong manner?
Absolutely, it means the same thing. But of course, this is a news headline, so it's in print form. So he made a strong debut. I guess in casual parlance too, you can say it like that. But it means the same thing.
그러면 he just mentioned like he made a strong debut. What other adjectives can we use in the same sort of expression? Made an impressive debut.
He made a remarkable debut. Impressive debut.
Impressive debut.
Sure.
Can I say weak debut as well?
A weak debut when his performance would be poor, right? He made a poor debut, you can
poor
say as
debut.
well. Yes.
아, 그렇구나. 조금 아쉬운 그런 데뷔를 했다라고 한다면 POOR를 쓰면 되겠군요. 네. 자, DEBUT 많이 아시겠지만 이거 데뷔라고 우리말로도 잘 알려진 단어이기 때문에 데뷔라고 하지만 영어로는 발음 스펠링이 DEBUT가 됩니다. But T is silent. 그렇죠. 이게 묵음이 되기 때문에 debut 이렇게 말하더라고요. So he made this strong debut at an away or in an away match.
Yeah, so this game was not played in Los Angeles. It was the other team, the opposing team in Chicago, and that's where he scored his equalizer. So an equalizer in sports usually is a goal or a point that levels the two teams. It creates a tie.
Creates a tie.
While you were losing, so you put in or score an equalizer, so now the score is tied.
Is it used only in soccer?
In other sports as well, but usually in a sports context, you would use this, an equalizer.
Like basketball or like baseball. Baseball까지는 좀 힘들겠지만.
No, absolutely. In baseball, actually, you don't score in baseball.
그러니까.
You score runs.
Right.
So you hit an equalizer. I don't think you really say that. But in general, to equalize things would make something level. So anything that has an equalizing effect would be an equalizer.
I see.
Yeah.
자, equalizer. 그러니까 equal. 우리가 equal 혹은 심지어 equal이라고 말했던 그런 어르신들도 계셨습니다. 근데 equal이 되는 거잖아요. 그러니까 equalizer. 그러니까 equal하게 만드는 것. 동점, 득점 혹은 동점골 이렇게 어떤 뭐 아까 말씀하신 축구라든지 뭐 농구라든지 배구라든지 그럴 때 잘 쓰일 수 있겠군요.
Yeah. Anything where score is kept.
I see.
Yes.
그러니까 점수가 이렇게 올라간다 내려간다라고 하는 그런 경기에서는 so secure an equalizer라고 하니까 동점 득점 혹은 동점골을 이렇게 확보하다라고 할 때 secure 같이 쓰는 것 알아두시면 좋을 것 같습니다. And here's the story once again. Korean football star Son Heung-min has made a strong debut for Los Angeles Football Club in an away match, winning a crucial penalty that helped his team secure an equalizer.
A team dedicated to controlling populations of invasive Burmese pythons in the U.S. state of Florida has deployed remote-controlled and solar-powered robotic rabbits to locate the elusive predators.
미국 플로리다주에서 외래종인 버마 비단뱀 개체수가 급증했습니다. 그러자 관련 당국이 토끼 로봇을 이용해서 이를 포획하는 작전에 나섰어요. 이 토끼 로봇은 태양열로 구동하며 원격 조정이 가능한 것으로 알려졌습니다. Quite a story, really.
Yeah, so of course, in Florida, if you're familiar with it, there are many creatures that you don't see in other parts of the U.S. That are in Florida, like alligators, other snakes, and things like that. So I guess there's a big problem with these Burmese pythons.
Pythons.
Yeah, so a python, of course, is a type of snake. And what authorities there are doing is they're using technology. They're using these things like remote-controlled robotic rabbits. So they're robots that look like rabbits, and they actually emit a scent that attract these pythons. And what they will do is they will, once they see these pythons, they will catch them, and officials will be alerted, and so these wranglers will go out and euthanize these animals.
Oh, so basically they're trying to locate these pythons.
Yes, exactly, because it's a big, of course, it's a big nuisance. Here in Korea, you can have insect problems,
right,
you can have rat problems, perhaps, but in Florida, there are snake problems here. So this isn't the first time that they've used this sort of technology. Before, they've used dogs before to detect these pythons, but they're using robots now.
Robot. Wow.
Rabbits.
Rabbits. Yeah. Robot rabbits. 모르니까 어쨌든 로봇이잖아요. 토끼 로봇. We'll talk about scientific advancement.
Yeah.
정말 이 과학의 발전이라고 하는 것은 진짜 멀리만 있는 것이 아니라 우리의 가까이 있는 것 같습니다. 그래서 토끼 로봇을 활용해서 어디에 이 pythons가 있는지, 이 비단 뱀들이 있는지 locate them. 그 위치를 추적해서 여기 있네 하고 잡아내는 건데 it has been quite difficult so far because they've been very elusive.
Yes.
We're going to discuss that word a little bit later. But before that, let's talk about this organization. it's dedicated to the catching or controlling the population of these pythons, right?
So it's a local public agency and they're committed. They're devoted and they have one specific purpose in this case is to catch these pythons. So they're dedicated to doing that. Right?
Dedicated.
Yes.
우리가 책을 쓰거나 뭐 논문을 쓰거나 할 때 dedicated to my family, dedicated to my advisor, professor 누구누구라고 한다든지 누구누구에게 바칩니다라고 할 때 dedicate라는 말을 쓰잖아요. And we're talking about this organization or association or group of people. They are dedicated to in something이라고 하니까 뭐뭐 하는 것에 dedicate, 바쳐졌다라고 하는 건 like Shane has just mentioned, they're trying to explain the main purpose of this organization.
Right. That's their aim or goal.
Aim.
Right? Yes.
아, 그렇구나. 그러면 does that mean that it is the only thing that they do?
No, but in this case, that's what they're. Well, maybe they have a team within this organization, so that is their main purpose.
I
but
see.
Perhaps they might catch other pests as well.
네, 다른 일도 하겠죠.
Perhaps,
It's
yeah.
dedicated to. 그러니까 주요 목적은 뭐뭐 하는데 조금 집중되어 있다라고 할 때 dedicated to. 여기서도 말하기를 it's dedicated to controlling 이란 말을 합니다. Controlling population or populations of invasive Burmese pythons in the U.S. state of Florida.
Yeah.
아, 그러니까 좀 이렇게 제한하고 그렇다고 완전히 뭐 remove or eradicate 하는 것이 아니라 controlling 정도가 되는군요.
Right, because they do have, I'm sure, benefits to the
Yes.
ecosystem as well. But they are invasive, means that they spread or they're usually undesirable. Right?
Undesirable.
Or harmful.
Harmful. Very aggressive.
Yeah.
They must be.
Perhaps, yeah. But they are elusive as
네.
well, right? They're not easy to catch, meaning elusive, right? To elude police, for example, it means you're difficult to find or to catch.
Right.
Yeah.
We say like 요리조리 잘 빠져나가다.
Yeah.
They can easily get away with usually all those traps and everything. So elusive, E-L-U-S-I-V-E. 저는 이것만 보면 이렇게 요리조리 빠져나가는 미끄덩미끄덩하게 뭐 이런 생각을 항상 해요. Elusive. 자, 찾기 힘들고 잡기 어렵다라고 할 때 elusive 하다라고 말하죠. So we're describing these pythons as the elusive predadors라고 말합니다. 네. All right. So here's the story once again. A team dedicated to controlling populations of invasive Burmese pythons in the U.S. state of Florida has deployed remote-controlled and solar-powered robotic rabbits to locate the elusive predators. Interesting. All right, so let's move on to our next story.
A special variety of coffee known as Panamanian Geisha has set a new world record by selling for more than $30,000 per kilogram at a global auction.
오, 파나마 게이샤라고 하는 커피 원두 품종이 국제 경매에서 1kg당 3만 달러 이상의 금액에 판매되면서 사상 최고가 기록을 세웠다는 소식입니다.
Yeah. So normally when you think of luxury items that sell for high prices at auction, you think of wines, you think of cheeses, but now you can add coffee to the list. So, we complain about coffee prices going way up here in Korea, but imagine spending more than $30,000. How much would that be? About almost 40 million won
Right.
per kilo of this very special coffee from Panama.
There was a time when we were raving about this. What is it? The Luwak coffee? I don't know how to properly pronounce it. Luwak coffee, which is supposed to be very, very expensive, using cats and they're like
Feces.
Exactly.
Yes.
Feces, exactly.
Yes.
Luwak, 그렇군요. 그런데 이제는 now we're talking about Panamanian geisha coffee.
Yeah, so it's Gesha. I think you can pronounce it geisha,
Geisha.
like the Japanese female entertainers, or gesha is how it's spelled.
아, 그렇군요. 근데 이 게이샤라는 이름은요, 해당 지역의 이름인 게샤의 그 음역과 역사적인 철자 오류에서 비롯됐다고 합니다. 아, 우리말이 더 어렵네요. 그죠? 이 품종이 중미로 이동할 때 게이샤로 이제 기록이 됐다는 거죠. 현재 두 철자가 모두 사용되고 있지만 말씀하신 것처럼 사실은 정확한 철자는 게샤라고 합니다. 그러니까 게샤 커피 많이 들어보셨을 것 같아요. 자, 여기에서 a special variety of coffee known as Panamanian geisha has set a new world record 이렇게 시작합니다. variety라고 하면 a variety of different different colors, a variety of food, music, 다양한이라고 말할 때 variety를 쓴 것 같은데 여기서는 좀 다른가 보죠?
Yeah, so this is interesting. So normally, like you said, a variety would be an assortment or a spread or a collection, a variety of smartphones at the store. But in this case, we're talking about one specific type or kind of something. So it's almost the opposite meaning of variety, right? So we're talking about one specific variety or version of something.
Version.
Yeah.
Can I say kind as well?
Yes, a kind of something, a type of something.
A type of something, kind of something. 아까 말씀 a version of something. 뭐뭐 어떤 버전이다라고 말할 때 그걸 variety. 참 인생이 정말 버라이어티하다라고 할 때 다양하고 뭐 여러 가지 뭐 일이 벌어지고 할 때 버라이어티를 쓰게 되지만 여기서 말하는 버라이어티, variety라고 하는 건 한 가지의 특정 품종을 가리키고 있습니다. 그러면 뭐 예를 들어서 어떻게 우리가 뭐 예문으로 쓸 수 있을까요? Any sample sentence you might want to give us?
So maybe a farm grows a rare variety of apples, that you can't grow anywhere else, perhaps.
약간 특수 품종 이렇게 말할 때 special variety of apples.
A special variety,
special
very good.
variety.
Yes.
그렇게
Or a rare variety, right?
Rare variety. 그렇군요. 아주 드문 품종 이렇게 말할 적에 variety, variety를 쓸 수가 있겠군요. Interesting. 자, 그래서 so as we were saying, it has set a new world record by selling for more than $30,000 US.
Yes. So it's achieved this sort of result. In this case, money, over $30,000. So when you achieve a performance that hasn't occurred, anywhere else in the world, you've set a new world record.
So there was a record before, but it was broken, right?
Yeah, and records are meant to be broken.
Meant to be broken, of course. 기록은 깨지라고 있는 거죠. Meant to be broken. 자, 그래서 that's what exactly happened here. Set a new world record. 기록을 세우다. Set a new world record. 새로운 기록을 세웠다는 말이 되겠습니다. And here's the story once again. A special variety of coffee known as Panamanian Geisha has set a new world record by selling for more than $30,000 per kilogram at a global auction. Okay, let's move on to the final headline.
A recent study finds that consuming caffeine at night may increase impulsive behavior, potentially leading to reckless actions.
밤에 커피를 마시면 충동성이 높아져서 이 무모한 행동으로 이어질 수 있다는 연구 결과가 발표됐습니다.
Yeah.
Coffee at night, it's not quite advised, right?
Yeah, especially if you're sensitive to caffeine, right? I think this is commonly known, but researchers, of course, had to do a study, and they used fruit flies. The little flies that occur, especially during the summertime when you leave food out. And they tested different caffeine doses and by timing day and night, and they found that nighttime caffeine increases impulsivity, right? Impulse behaviors and reckless flying. So imagine these fruit flies sort of flying in a haphazard sort of way, and it was different from daytime caffeine.
그렇군요. 그러니까 increased impulsivity라고 해서 충동성이란 단어가 따로 있습니다. impulsivity를 increase, 높였다. Coffee at night 말씀하신 것처럼 이 초파리를 가지고 한 실험에서 그렇게 드러났다고 합니다. 자, 여기서 impulsive behavior라는 건 뭘까요?
Yeah, so there are actions that you take when you don't really think out or plan something. You have these immediate feelings or desires. Think of at the supermarket, right by the register, there's always little things that really tempt you to buy. Those are impulse purchases, they say, right?
Impulsive purchases.
Yes.
그러니까 충동 구매. Impulsive purchases. 그런 말 참 많이 하게 되죠. 네, 그렇습니다. 자, impulsive. impulsive로 쓰게 됩니다. 그러니까 increase impulsive behavior. 그러니까 충동적인 행동을 좀 부추기고 혹은 높인다라고 해서 it may increase impulsive behavior. So don't go shopping when you're hungry.
No, not a good idea.
네, 배고픈 상태로 쇼핑 갔다가는 impulsive shopping을 하기가 아주 쉽다는 거잖아요. 자, 그러다 보니 potentially leading to reckless actions.
Yeah, so reckless is similar to impulsive in that you don't think about it in advance. But when you talk about reckless behavior, there's almost a danger or a risk, or there's this sort of lack of caution or care, right? When you take it. So reckless driving is a very common one. Right?
reckless driving.
Yes.
맞습니다. 그러니까 운전을 할 적에 아주 무모하게 좀 운전을 마구 한다라고 할 때 reckless driving.
Right, almost 난폭, right? As they
난폭
say.
운전.
Yeah.
오, 맞다.
When you're very dangerous. in
네,
that case.
그렇죠. reckless. 그러니까 앞뒤를 가리지 않는 것이 되겠죠. So you don't care about the consequences. Just go right ahead. 그러니까 reckless라고 말하게 됩니다. 네, 자 이렇게 해서 이런 아주 주요 표현들이 들어가 있는 스토리까지 함께 하셨는데요. And here's the story or headline once again. A recent study finds that consuming caffeine at night may increase impulsive behavior, potentially leading to reckless actions. 네, 자 지금까지 뉴스캐스터 우리 셰인과 함께 오늘의 헤드라인을 자세히 알아봤습니다.
A Seoul Institute report reveals that 1 in 7 residents of the capital spends over 2 hours a day commuting, with researchers citing high housing costs as the leading cause of longer commutes.
서울연구원은 서울 시민 7명 중 1명이 1 in 7 residents of the capital 이분들이 하루 평균 2시간 이상을 over 2 hours a day 통근 및 통학에 쓰고 있다는 조사 결과를 발표하면서 이 통근 시간이 이렇게 길어진 주요 원인으로 그러니까 longer commutes의 cause가 과연 뭘까 했을 때 주택 가격 급등에 따른 교외 거주 증가를 꼽았다고 합니다. Let's take a quick look on the news first. So, how long is your commute to EBS? Do you commute to EBS every day?
Well, no, it's once
Not
a week.
every day, yes.
I commute once a week, and I'm lucky that on the way here, my commute is only about 25 minutes. On my way home, it's more like an hour.
For me, it takes about roughly 2 hours just to get here.
Just to get here. So it's 4 hours there and back.
Yes,
Oh my goodness! You may have added to this survey then.
I know.
Yes,
but it's definitely worth it, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I have to say, we do have a long commute. When we look at the results of the survey, those who were commuting just 10 minutes to work were only 0.6% of those surveyed. 13.3%, it took them 10 to 20 minutes to get to work. 21.3%, it was 20 to 30 minutes. 25.6%, 30 to 40 minutes. And then when we get to the most extreme, 13.5%, that 1 in 7 commute at least 1 hour in a single direction. And just like you, that's at least 2 hours each day. It's a lot. And it's housing. Housing is the biggest problem. It's the cost of housing. And over the past 15 years, we've seen soaring real estate prices. And that's pushed more and more people out of the center of Seoul into the peripheral neighborhoods and also into Gyeonggi province. What's really interesting is we have the longest commute in the OECD. The study from 2016 showed the OECD average was 28 minutes one way. And in Korea, it was 58 minutes one way. We're commuting a lot longer than everybody else in the developed world.
네, 저 OECD 국가 중에서 우리가 가장 그 통근 시간에 많은 시간을 지금 보내고 있는 나라다라고 말씀 주셨는데, so we're talking about commute here as one of those keywords.
Yes, and to commute means to travel, but it's specifically traveling back and forth to a regular place. So it could be work, commuting to your office and back, or it could be school. But the idea is it's something that you do every day, every week, every month. It's a regular trip that you take.
So without knowing that you only come to the EBS like once a week, then could I still ask you, do you commute? How long is your commute?
Yeah, I would use commute for EBS because I'm here every single Tuesday. If I'm going to see friends in southern Seoul, I wouldn't call that a commute. So any regular appointment you have, I would say.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be daily thing, every single day.
Not for me. Daily is normal. I think that's the most common use, but I would use it for something that's happening on a regular basis.
I see. 정기적으로 매일일 필요는 없지만 이렇게 왔다 갔다 할 때 이제 통근하다 혹은 통학하다 commute를 동사로도 쓰고 longer commute 아까라고 하신 것으로 보아서 commute는 명사로도 쓸 수가 있겠습니다. 그래서 뭐 집에서 학교 다녀요? 아니면 기숙사에 있으세요?라고 할 때 do you commute or do you live in a dorm? 이렇게
Yeah.
물을 수 있겠군요.
Absolutely, yes. So it's a very common thing to talk about. And if you're listening to the radio all over the world, at this time in the morning, the DJs will always be talking about their daily commute.
아, daily commute. 그렇죠. 매일같이 하는 그런 통근 혹은 뭐 통학이 되겠습니다. 아까 좀 one way 말씀하셨는데 우리는 보통 편도 가는 길이라고 할 때 one way, 뭐 round way 이런 말 많이 하게 되는데 one way 말고도 in a single direction 이렇게 표현하는 것도 알아둘 만한 얘기 같습니다. 네. So, what could be the possible cause of this longer commute?
Well, it's housing costs, high housing costs.
Housing costs.
And a cause is the reason for something. It is the cause of it. It is the reason why it happens. It's something that is the catalyst for it.
Catalyst.
And if it's the leading cause, it's the main one, the big one, the most important reason.
Right. The most important reason이라고 할 때 가장 중요한 원인이다. 이것을 앞으로 이끌고 가고 있는 원인이다. 뭐 이런 식으로 해서 the leading cause of something 이렇게 말할 수가 있겠습니다. 자, 그래서 뭐 아까 말씀하신 것처럼 catalyst라는 말씀 주셨는데 우리가 촉매 작용을 한다 할 때 그 catalyst가 촉매라고 보통 얘기하게 되는데 그게 바로 이 cause하고도 밀접하게 관련이 되어 있겠네요. Okay, so here's the story once again. A Seoul Institute report reveals that 1 in 7 residents in the capital spends over 2 hours a day commuting, with researchers citing high housing costs as the leading cause of longer commutes. 자, 그 주요한 원인으로 높아진 주택 가격을 꼽고 있습니다. Citing high housing costs. Okay, shall we move on to our second story?
A 6.1 magnitude earthquake has struck western Turkey, collapsing more than a dozen buildings and sending tremors from its epicenter as far as Istanbul, about 200 kilometers away.
튀르키예 서부 지역에 규모 6.1의 지진이 발생해서 건물 여러 채가 무너지고 진앙지에서 약 200km 떨어진 이스탄불에까지 진동이 전해진 것으로 알려졌습니다. 네. So Turkey actually it's a region with high risk of earthquakes, right?
Oh yeah, well we saw in 2023 that terrible 7.8 magnitude earthquake that killed more than 53,000 people. Turkey is very familiar with these kind of tremors and these kind of disasters. This is another terrible, terrible tragedy. 16 buildings in that region collapsed. One person, an elderly person, the age of 81, died, and 29 were injured. There's no other signs of serious casualties or injuries. It seems to be okay, but it's another sign that Turkey is in a danger zone. It's on top of one of these major fault lines, and a fault line is where earthquakes are more likely to happen. It's where the tectonic plates meet and where those tremors can occur.
Okay, Turkey. Then can I say like Turkey is one of those earthquake-prone countries?
Absolutely, an earthquake-prone country or an earthquake zone.
Earthquake zone.
And I should say that you can say Turkey or you can say Turkey. A couple of years ago, Turkey or Turkey decided to officially say that their international name was Turkey. I think in Korea it's been used a lot more.
Turkey.
In English language media, I think Turkey is just being used. Both are okay, though. Both will be understood. Turkey is the old term. Turkey is the term that Turkey wants to be known by.
But that's what they want to be like. They want to be known by, though.
Absolutely, yes. I'll use Turkey, but other people might say Turkey.
Okay, sure. 자, 아까 말씀하신 것처럼 the country lies on top of major fault lines. It's my fault, not it's your fault. 할 때 그 fault하고 똑같이 쓰게 되는 단어긴 한데 이게 주요 단층대를 의미한다고 합니다. 자, 그 바람에 이제 아까 earthquake prone countries, 그러니까 지진이 자주 발생하는 그런 나라다라고 볼 수 있는 거죠. 자, 모쪼록 더 큰 그런 재앙이 정말 그런 소식이 안 들려왔으면 좋겠습니다. So more than a dozen buildings have been crushed or they fell down or collapsed, right?
Yeah, and a dozen is 12 of something. So more than a dozen means over 12, in this case, over 12 buildings. Yes, so we use a dozen a lot, not so much in Korea. For example, when we buy eggs in Korea, we buy them in tens. Whereas if you go to a UK supermarket, or I think an American supermarket as well, you buy them in sixes or dozens. A dozen is a very common term. You'll find it used a lot when buying things, but we also use it to to talk about a number of something. Dozens of something instead of tens of something is also used. But more than a dozen means more than 12.
아, 그렇군요. Before we move on, 그 아까 튀르키예 수도가 앙카라인데 수도 이스탄불이라고 말씀드린 부분 잘못한 겁니다. So I stand corrected. 다시 한번 양해를 다시 한번이 아니라 처음으로 양해를 부탁드린다는 말씀 드립니다. 그렇군요. 항상 이스탄불인 줄 잘못 알고 있다가 참 이번 기회에
I think it's one of those, like for example, if you ask people what's the capital of Australia,
Australia.
Yeah.
다 시드니라고 생각하잖아요.
Exactly, but in fact it's Canberra.
Canberra.
It's easy to make these mistakes because sometimes the capital city is not as well known as perhaps the most famous city in the country.
자, 분발합시다. 네. 자, 그래서 아까 doesn't doesn't this particular word has been used quite often in Korea for a long time, but we just call it a little bit different way though.
Okay.
타스. 타스. 연필 한 타스.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
I
one
didn't
small
realize.
box of new sort of pencils, we used to have like 12 of them. Right
but then you don't have a dozen eggs. You have 10 of them.
그렇죠. 그러니까 그쪽은 계란 얘기고 난 연필 얘기고 그러니까 dozen은 보통 12를 가리켜서 근데 baker's dozen이라는 게 있잖아요.
네.
baker's dozen은 13 아닌가요?
Yeah, one extra. Some people say it's for the customer in case one is burnt. Some people say it's for the baker because they want one for themselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. 자, baker's dozen 아마 많이 들어보셨을 거예요. 빵 굽는 분들이 말하는 dozen이라고 하는 건 12이 아니라 13이라고. 보통 인심 좋게 하나를 더 드린다. 12개가 아니고 하나 더 드린다. Just toss it in. 뭐 이런 뜻으로 생각했는데 뭐 여러 가지 또 의미가 있을 수 있겠네요. 해석이. 어쨌든 dozen이 원래 가리키는 것은 12이 되겠습니다. 자, 여기서는 사실은요. More than a dozen buildings and collapsing more than a dozen buildings. 이렇게 많은 건물들을 무너뜨렸다라는 사실은 굉장히 안타까운 소식이고요. 자, 그래서 지진파를 이렇게 진동이 전해졌다 이런 얘기를 하면서 sending tremors from its epicenter as far as Istanbul 이런 얘기 나옵니다.
Yeah, so it's the earthquake sending tremors. If you're sending something, you're pushing it away from you. You're pushing it towards something else. In this case, towards Istanbul. And a tremor is a shake. An earthquake is basically a very, very big series of tremors. But then you have the aftershocks of the earthquake. In the same way that if you throw a stone in a pond, you have the ripples that expand outwards. It's the same with these tremors being sent all around Turkey.
그러니까 이게 점점점 퍼져나가게 되는 건데 지금 이 모든 것의 주어가 그야말로 이제 지진이 건물들을 무너뜨리고 지진이 진앙지로부터 이런 지진파를 내보내고 있고라고 해서 이제 sending tremors 라는 말이 나오거든요. From where? From its epicenter as far as Istanbul. Epicenter is another quite frequently used vocabulary word in this kind of context.
Absolutely. It means where the earthquake originated, that very central point. You could say from its center, but epicenter is the technical term that we use when it comes to earthquakes.
Right. 진앙지, epicenter라는 단어도 많이 등장하게 되죠. Okay, here's the story once again. A 6.1 magnitude earthquake has struck western Turkey, collapsing more than a dozen buildings and sending tremors from its epicenter as far as Istanbul, about 200 kilometers away.
A new US poll finds that more than half of Americans are stressed about food costs, prompting changes in their shopping habits amid growing concerns about the economy.
최근 실시된 미국 내 여론조사 결과 불확실한 경제 환경 속에서 미국인 절반 이상이 높아진 식료품 비용에 스트레스를 받고 있으며 이에 따라 쇼핑 패턴도 바꾸고 있는 것으로 나타났습니다. Obviously, you have to spend less and plan better.
Exactly. Almost everybody is stressed. 53% of Americans surveyed said it was a major stress when it came to grocery costs. 33% said it was a minor stress. Only 14% said the cost of groceries were not a source of stress. Trump, when he got into office or when he was being voted, he was talking about the price of eggs and lowering the price of eggs. And I think Americans were hoping for cheaper groceries, but economists are saying there's an economic slowdown. It's impacting the job market. It's impacting growth plans for companies. Higher inflation could be on the way. So Americans are stuck with buying smaller sizes, smaller portions. They're skipping the things that they don't really need, but they love to eat. and they're eating more at home. I've seen videos of Americans coming here to teach, for example. And they are shocked at the prices in the supermarket. They do these unboxing videos. They're like, look what I got for 40,000 won. And I always thought that American groceries were cheap.
Me too. But it's not anymore.
No.
So they had to change their shopping habits.
Yes, and your shopping habits are, well, the way you normally shop. So that could be the place that you like to shop, whether it's a department store, a supermarket, a traditional market, or a mom and pop store. It could be the things that you buy. It could be the brands that you buy, all sorts of things. It's however you like to shop. So my shopping habits are basically, I sometimes go to a big box store. I sometimes go to a department store. I usually go to our little store. That's my shopping habits. And I have the same sort of fruits, vegetables, meats, or grains that I like to buy. The same products. Those are my habits.
So the items-wise, I mean, it's pretty much the same, right? You shop those things like as before, but it's the place that you're talking about when you talk about the shopping habits.
So my shopping habits, I go to several different places. Some people only go to one. My shopping habits have changed. I used to go to the traditional market in my neighborhood, but now the traditional market is gone, so I can't go there.
Traditional markets.
Yeah.
그렇죠. 그러니까 전통 시장이 이제 많이 좀 예전만큼 보이지 않는다라는 것이 안타깝긴 한데, 그렇구나. 자, 그래서 이제 예전엔 그랬지만 이제는 그게 사라진 바람에 you were sort of forced to move on to a different, like bigger.
Forced to change my habits.
그렇죠. Changing your habits. 자, 습관이라고 할 때 HABIT. 근데 이제 구매 습관이라는 단어로 shopping habits. 자, 그것을 많은 미국인들이 이제 할 필요가 있었다라고 얘기합니다. 워낙에 지금 식료품 가격이 높아졌기 때문에라고 하는데요. 그래서 이제 인플레이션이 점점 심해지는 거 아니야? 라고 해서 많은 우려가 커지고 있다는 얘기가 나옵니다. So they were talking about growing concerns about blah, 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 about this...
about the economy.
Economy, of course.
Yeah. And a concern is a worry, an anxiety of some kind. And if it's growing, it's getting bigger and bigger, meaning there are more and more concerns, more and more worries about what's going on. We've seen the tariff talk over the past few months, and people are thinking, does that mean the fruit that gets imported from Europe is going to be more expensive? They're getting more and more concerned, more and more worried, growing concerns.
And Kim, too.
No, you can't have expensive kim.
I know, roasted seaweed. 그렇죠.
But at least here in Korea, we grow our own, we make our own, so hopefully the price will stay lower.
Hopefully. 많이 김값도 많이 올랐어요.
아이고.
네, 많이 올랐는데 어쨌든 미국에서도 이제 많이 김, 뭐 부각 이런 거 먹게 되는데 하여튼 여러 가지 그런 식료품들의 가격이 높아졌는데 자 이거 경기에 대한 어떤 경제 상황에 대해서 많은 그 우려가 점점 커지고 있는 가운데 라고 해서 amid growing concerns about the economy 그 가운데 이제 많은 사람들이 스트레스를 받고 있다. They're heavily stressed out. 이런 이야기가 나오고 있습니다. Okay, so here's the story once again. A new U.S. poll finds that more than half of Americans are stressed about food costs, prompting changes in their shopping habits amid growing concerns about the economy. All right, I guess it's time for us to move on to our next headline.
Taxi drivers in Afghanistan are mounting handmade air coolers on their vehicle roofs to cope with temperatures that regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius.
기온이 섭씨 40도를 넘기는 일이 잦은 아프가니스탄에서 이 택시 운전사들이, 택시 기사님들이 차량 지붕에 자체 제작한 에어컨 장치를 설치하는 모습이 포착됐다고 합니다. But don't they already have air conditioner which is built in the car?
Well, they do, but they often break down, it seems. I guess maybe through overuse, maybe the taxis are a little bit older or whatever the case is. They also only work from the front sometimes, whereas these new air conditioning units that they're putting onto the roofs, well, they spread the cool air throughout the whole car. So it's a lot more effective. If your air conditioner is broken, you need something, and this seems to be the solution. There is a snag, and that is you have to refill it with water twice a day.
Twice a day?
Yes, so you do actually have to do a little bit of manual labor, but it's relatively cheap, only $43 to make yourself one of these coolers. And the weather has been very, very hot in Afghanistan. They had their warmest ever spring this year. There's also been a drought. And let's be honest, if you're a taxi driver, you need to be as cool as possible, and your passengers need to be as cool as possible too.
I know. 자, 한국에서도 이제 택시를 저도 아주 자주 이용하고 있는데 sometimes is overly air conditioned.
Yes, I would say the subway sometimes.
그럴 때 영어로 뭐라고 해요? 조금 에어컨 조금 너무 센데 조금 낮춰주세요. How would you say that in English?
Could you turn down the air conditioning, please?
Could you turn down the air conditioner? Air conditioning or air conditioner?
I would say air conditioning, but you could say air conditioner. I think both are okay.
Turn down, just like turn down the volume.
Yeah, or else just say, it's freezing! Help! That's the other option.
Whatever works.
Less polite, but hey, it works for me.
너무 추워서 조금 에어컨 세기 좀 낮춰주세요라고 할 때 우리가 볼륨 낮춰달라고 하는 것처럼 Could you please turn down the air conditioning 하시면 되겠군요. 네, 자 그런 나라가 있는가 하면 So they had 아까 labor work 말씀하셨지만 manual work라고 하셨는데 그 손으로 일일이 이제 그 2시간 아니 하루에 2번씩 물도 채워 넣어야 되고 이런 수고가 있지만 But the coolers we're talking about here are pretty affordable. 꽤나 가격이 뭐 이 정도면 설치할 만하다. So they mounted this seemed like pretty huge. 조금 커다랗게 보이긴 했는데 they mounted this handmade air coolers on their vehicle roofs.
Yeah, and if you mount something on someone else, you put it on top of it. In fact, I don't know. I would guess that you've probably mounted a horse in your time. Have you ever ridden a horse?
Oh, once, very briefly.
Yeah, so you mounted the horse, which means you got on top of it.
Yes.
So we use the word mount when it comes to animals, like getting onto an animal. You can mount some vehicles, or we can use it for putting something on top of something else and securing it there.
So does it have the same sort of meaning as loading then?
To load, to get on. However, load can be inside. If you load up a van, load up a truck, that may be inside the van, inside the truck. Where if you're mounting something onto a van, you're putting it on the roof.
Oh.
So you might mount your bicycles on top of your car, for example.
Right. Then in that case, you wouldn't want to use the word load in that
you
sense?
You could use the word load, but load is ambiguous. Because load could be inside, outside, on top, on the side, who knows where.
그러니까 보통 로딩한다는 말을 하잖아요. 로딩. 그러니까 어떤 걸 위로 이제 뭐 올린다, 내린다, 뭐 이런 말을 하게 되는데, 근데 여기서는 올리는 건 마찬가지지만 어떤 것에 위에 올린다. 위에 올려서 뭐 붙이든지 설치하든지 끼우든지 뭐 얹히든지 이게 다 마운트가 되겠습니다. 말 위에 오르는 것처럼 코끼리 위에 올라앉는 것처럼. 네. 그렇죠?
Yes.
인도 같은 데 가면 그러더라고요. 코끼리 올라타고 막 이러기도 하더라고요.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the elephant thinks about it though.
그러니까 뭐 기분 좋겠어요. 근데 어쨌든 mount는 그런 뜻으로 M-O-U-N-T. 여기서는 we're talking about this handmade air coolers. 손으로 직접 만든 그런 에어 쿨러를 오죽하면 이러겠어요. On top of their vehicle, which is roof part, 그 지붕 차 지붕 위에다가 mounting 얹어놓고 있다라고 합니다. Why? To cope with these high temperatures.
Yes, and if we cope with something, for a start, that something's not going to be very nice. That something is going to be difficult in some way. It's going to be hard for us or tiring or causing problems. So we're coping with it, with this difficult thing, meaning we're enduring it, we're surviving it, we're getting through it. How are you coping with today's show?
Oh, so far so good. Fantastic.
I'm glad to hear you're coping well.
I think coping is not the proper word. I'm enjoying this moment.
Sure. But we talk about when we're going through a hard time or doing something difficult. Like, if you're a marathon runner, how did you cope running 24 miles? It must have been really hard.
Right.
You might ask someone that.
맞습니다. 그러니까 아주 어려운 일을 어떻게 견뎌내세요? 우리도 이제 어려운 일에 대해서 말할 때 견뎌내다라는 말을 하듯이 여기서도 cope with, C-O-P-E로 쓰게 되고 cope 다음에 항상 with가 거의 늘 오게 되죠. 어떤 것에 대처하고 대항한다. Cope with. So basically you're fighting against these high temperatures.
Exactly.
그렇죠?
Finding a way to survive through them.
그렇죠. Survive through them. 여기서 이제 이겨내기 위해서 이런 그 쿨러를 차 위에 얹는 그런 아프가니스탄 택시 기사분들의 이야기를 방금 함께 하셨습니다. So here's the story once again. Taxi drivers in Afghanistan are mounting handmade air coolers on their vehicle roofs to cope with temperatures that regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius. If you think about it, 40 degrees Celsius.
It's a lot hotter than here right now.
그러니까요. 자, 요즘은 한 33도만 돼도 뭐 견딜만 해. 뭐 이런 말을 하게 됩니다. Alright, so let's move on to our final headline, shall we?
Researchers have found that eating potatoes as French fries, rather than baked, boiled, or mashed 3 times a week, increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by about 20%.
감자를 삶거나 굽거나 으깨는 방식이 아닌 튀김 형태로 주 3회 섭취할 경우에 제2형 당뇨병 발병 위험이 20% 높아진다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. Do you like potatoes?
I love potatoes.
Me too.
And I just want to say right here and right now, potatoes are not dangerous.
Right.
Do not panic about the potatoes.
감자는 죄가 없어요. 감자는. But it's about how you cook it, right?
Exactly, and this is the problem, is that if you do turn them into fries or chips, as we say in the UK, then it's going to increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This is a study done at Harvard University. If you eat fried potatoes 3 times a week, that raises your risk of diabetes by 20%. If you eat your potatoes any other way that doesn't involve oil and heat, so baking, boiling, or mashing, it only raises your risk by 5%. That said, there are better things than potatoes.
Oh.
You should replace your potatoes with whole grains if you want to lower your risk of diabetes, because that lowers the risk by 8%. And if you eat grains instead of chips, that lowers your risk by 19%.
Oh.
But I've got bad news.
Oh.
White rice doesn't do it. It's got to be whole grains.
That has to be whole grains. 그렇구나. 그러니까 이거는 이제 통곡물이 돼야만 하는 거지. 이게 또 그 정제된 무슨 뭐 탄수화물 이게 그렇게 안 좋다는 말을 하게 되잖아요. 그럼 많이 알죠. 우리가 다 알지. It's not that we don't know any of these information. 알긴 아는데 그 참 어렵죠, 사실.
But the problem is that potatoes are a staple. If you look around the world, there are the 3 big staples are potatoes, rice, and wheat. Those are the things that pretty much everyone eats at least one of those at least once a day.
You mean in
All over the world.
All over the world.
So here in Korea, it's rice, but it is also potatoes. In the UK, it's wheat and potatoes. Depending where you are, it's pretty much 2 of the 3, I think.
Potatoes are always included there. So.
Very much so, because they are delicious.
그러니까. 자, 감자는 죄가 없습니다. 그러나 감자를 어떻게 먹느냐에 따라서 이 자그마치 type 2 diabetes의 발병할 수 있는 그런 developing 할 수 있는 가능성이 20% 정도 높아진다라고 하니 something to keep in mind. 자, 여기서 rather than 이란 표현이 나오는데 so they were introducing all these different types of sort of cooking potatoes. 그러니까 eating potatoes as French fries, 그 감튀로 먹게 되면 rather than baked, boiled or mashed 3 times a week 이러고 story goes on. Rather than 이런 말이 나오네요.
Yeah, we use this when we're looking at 2 different things and we're saying, well, not this, we're going to have this instead. So rather than is the same as instead of. We're replacing something or we're saying, comparing these 2 things like this.
그러니까 rather than도 우리가 참 많이 배우게 되는 표현 중에 하나인데 이런 식으로 또 쓰게 된다는 겁니다. 그러니까 boiled, mashed, or 이렇게 baked 하기보다는 French fries 타입으로 먹게 될 때 이런 이제 위험성이 좀 있을 수 있다라고 하는데 그러니까 비교해서 얘기할 때 뭐보다는 좀 이게라고 할 때 rather than 이란 말을 쓰게 되는군요. Not this but that라고 그 굉장히 확실하게 구분을 짓는 것보다는 그러니까 이럴 수도 있겠지만 이것보다는 그래도 이렇게 할 때 rather than 많이 쓰게 됩니다. 그리고 develop이란 말이 나오게 되는데 I grew up actually learning this particular word in a context where they talk about Korean economy.
Yes, okay. So we can use it in positive or negative sense. There's going to be a change of some kind. I like to think of photographs. In the old days, not digital, but analog. When you used to have a roll of film and you would take that roll of film to be developed, to be changed from negatives into photographs. So some process that is changing one thing into another thing is either positively or negatively. In this case, it's negative because your body changes into a body with diabetes. It develops diabetes.
그러니까 develop 하게 되면 우리가 developing country에서 developed country가 됐다 뭐 이런 얘기 참 많이 하게 되는데 개발도상국에서 뭐 선진국이 됐다라고 할 때 그때 develop이라는 단어를 많이 썼거든요. 말씀하신 것처럼 어떤 걸 변화시킨다라고 할 때 이제 뭐 발전시키든 develop 이 병에 대해서 even when we talk about certain types of diseases we can still use this word to mean that it's changing something. 그러니까 develop.
The thing to not get confused with is that nowadays, when we look at technology, develop often means to create.
Oh.
Yeah, so it doesn't just mean to change. We talk about the developer who's developing software. They're not changing the software, they're building it from scratch.
아, 그러니까 inventing or like making 하는
Yeah.
경우도, 그러니까 새롭게 만드는 경우도 develop 한다고 요즘은 말하게 되고, and you can even develop a relationship. A relationship can develop to something else,
Yeah, absolutely.
to another level.
Yeah.
그렇잖아요.
And I've got a pop quiz for you, Boyan.
Okay, I hate pop quizzes, but
Really?
anyway, go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Do you know what kind of clothes British people like to eat their potatoes with?
Clubs, you mean?
Clothes.
Clothes.
Yeah, clothes.
아니, 그 포테이토 먹는데 입는 옷이 따로 있어요?
Yeah, the potato wears clothes.
Okay,
Yeah,
beats
we,
me.
we love jacket potatoes.
Jacket potatoes. You got me there.
It's a baked potato. It's the British expression for baked potato because it's in its jacket. It's still in its skin.
아, 그렇구나. Good for you.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry. I feel like our relationship has developed very badly in the past minute. I'm just going to
there
leave
you
the
go.
room. I'm just going to walk away, Boyan. Just going to walk away.
자, 관계가 발전한다고 그 얘기하려고 하다가 이제 develop 했는데 그렇군요. 아, baked potato를 jacket potato라고 해요?
Yeah, you might hear it if you're in the UK. It'll be on the menus. Yeah,
If
the
I
same
ever
thing.
get to visit the UK, I will keep that in mind. And I will make sure that I will use it.
Okay.
네, 꼭
So sorry.
써보겠습니다.
I'm
No
really
problem. You learn something new every day. Okay. 자, researchers have found that eating potatoes as French fries rather than baked, boiled, or mashed 3 times a week increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by about 20%.
The average age of chief executive officers at Korea's 500 largest companies by sales has dropped below 60 for the first time amid a generational shift in the business circle, according to industry data.
업계 분석 결과에 따르면요, 국내 500대 기업에서 이게 매출을 중심으로 이제 500대 기업을 산정을 한 겁니다. 거기에서 최고 경영자, 즉 CEO의 평균 연령이 이 재계 세대 교체로 인해서 처음으로 50대로 낮아졌다는 소식이 되겠습니다. So now we are having younger CEOs.
Right. So CEOs are becoming younger at South Korea's 500 largest companies, and it's they're saying that the average age has dipped below 60 for the first time. So this is according to Leaders Index, and they're saying that the average age now stands at 59.8, which is down from over 61 just 2 years ago. And the trend follows several high-profile changes at the top, including Hansor Paper's appointment of 46-year-old Han Kyung-nok and Meritz Fire and Marine Insurance's selection of 48-year-old Kim Jung-hyun. And among the youngest are Hype Corporation's Lee Jae-sang at 43 and LT Corporation's Koo Un-mo, who became CEO at just 36 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're becoming younger. And then there are, of course, others who are still pretty old. And there are, they're saying that in terms of the gender, only 12 of the CEOs in major South Korean companies are women, who account for only 2% of the total.
So 12 out of 500.
Yes.
아, 뭐 이제 분발하면 되죠. 뭐 열심히 누구라 뭐 남성이든 여성이든 뭐 열심히 잘 하면 되겠죠. So they were talking about those younger CEOs who are in their 50s, like you said, the average age. 그러니까 average age를 보자면은 50대다라고 하는데 저는 50대라고 해서 maybe early 50s 생각했는데 보니까 the actual figure is 59.8.
Yeah, it's still quite high. It's still near 60, but still it's the first time that it's come below 60.
So 50 these days is not quite the same as the 50s, like maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I always say 40 is new 20.
Yeah.
That's not what I said, basically. I got that from a drama, sort of TV drama, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So 지금 그러니까 한 20살, 10살 되셨나?
Yes, I think my mental age, I'm still in my 20s. But physically,
teens,
physically, I think I'm maybe in my 50s.
네. 그러니까 다들 뭐 아유 내가 내 나이가 뭐 이래서 하지만 그야말로 이제는 뭐 20년을 뒤로 가봐야 되는 뒤로 이제 재해서
We're living longer, definitely.
그러니까 and healthier.
And
of course.
healthier.
That's the whole point. Stay healthy and happy as always. All right, so we're talking about this average age of the CEOs.
Yes. The average age, it's a statistical measure that represents the typical age in a group. So you calculate this by you add up all the ages. For example, in this group, we're adding up all the ages of the 500 CEOs in Korea, and then you divide that by the number of people, the number of individuals in the group. So you would be adding up all the 500 ages and then divide that by 500.
그러니까 adding up 다 더해서 and divide 나누고 그렇죠. 그렇게 이제 평균을 내는 거죠. 그래서 average age. 그러니까 average라는 말하고 흔히 우리가 normal이라는 단어하고 조금 헷갈리는 경우도 있어요.
Yeah.
There are times when we're kind of confused between these two words, especially when you have to say something or express something in English. Average, just average normal people. A lot of times, do you think they could be used interchangeably?
Yeah, you can. Because in this case, it's very specific because we're talking about a statistical
Right,
number.
in figures, yes.
But if you talk about, that's the average, normal, then you could be talking about something that a lot of people do.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that's the average for a lot of people. Then you would say that that's kind of what everyone does.
Right, exactly. So in daily conversation, I think you don't have to worry too much about which word to choose, to use actually. So average, average라고 흔히 우리말도 하는 average, A-V-E-R-A-G-E, average age, 평균 나이를 말하고 있습니다. 자, 그래서 amid a generational shift in the business circle. This whole thing is happening amid a generational shift.
Right.
라고 하는데 이 amid이라는 단어도 참 매일 나오고 있죠. 뭐뭐인 그 가운데서 라는 말을 넣었어. 근데 거기에서 지금 어떤 일이 벌어지고 있느냐. Generational shift is happening.
Right. When a shift happens, it means a change is happening. So a generational shift means it's a gradual but significant change in societal norms. It could be values, behaviors, and attitudes as one generation succeeds another.
그렇죠. 한 세대에서 다른 세대로 이렇게 좀 뭔가 계승하는 그 succeed라고 하는 건 성공한다는 뜻이 아니라 이제 이어지고 계승된다라는 뜻으로. So generational change. I mean, would I still make sense, do you think?
A generational change. That sounds a little different, I think. Yeah, a generational change. Shift is a little different in that case.
Right.
Yeah, but when we say shift, it's something that's changing, but here it's more gradual. So shift,
gradual.
yeah.
I think that's a very good point. 어떤 것이 서서히 이렇게 좀 변화한다라고 할 때 그때 shift라는 말을 쓰는군요. 그러니까 day shift, night shift 뭐 이런 그런 shift라는 말도 있겠고
Yeah.
아침에 일하는 뭐 조도 있고 저녁에 일하는 조가 있다라고 할 때 그런 shift라는 말을 또 쓰기도 하잖아요. 자, generational shift, 세대 교체. We tend to use this expression quite often, even in Korean. 자, 그럴 때, this is the expression you might want to remember if you want to say that in English.
Yep.
So we're noticing a generational shift as younger leaders start to take over. So here's the story once again. The average age of chief executive officers at Korea's 500 largest companies by sales has dropped below 60 for the first time amid a generational shift in the business circle, according to industry data. All right, so let's move on to our second headline.
Golden, the breakout song from animated film K-pop Demon Hunters, has clinched the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, marking the 9th K-pop song to rule the music industry's benchmark chart and the first by female artists.
So finally, we get to talk about this particular song,
Yeah.
Golden, because it was huge in the news just yesterday.
Yeah, so it's in the news all the time, right? It's been doing well. The film's been doing well, but it has soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. But the Billboard Hot 100 is the chart that everyone talks about.
That's right.
Yeah. So and it has made history as the first K-pop track by female singers to top the chart. And the movie, it's about the girl group Huntrix. They fight demons with music, and it's now Netflix's Netflix's most watched animated film since its June release. And Golden, it's sung by EJ, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami, and it racked up nearly 32 million streams in early August, while another track from the film, Your Idol, reached number 8. And both songs also topped the US Spotify charts in July, and they even surpassed BTS and Blackpink, so that's how well they're doing. And earlier this month, Golden hit number 1 on the UK singles chart. So it's not just in the US, but it's a global phenomenon. Wow. And it became the first K-pop single to do so since Psy's Gangnam Style for the UK singles chart. So the film's runaway success has sparked talk of a potential franchise with sequels already under consideration.
Absolutely. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, me neither.
자, when I'm walking down the street, actually, I just end up humming the song all the time.
We're going up.
Sorry about that. 네. 자, 그렇습니다. 저 breakout song 그야말로 대단한 돌풍을 일으킨 히트곡. 우리가 히트곡이라고 하면 뭐 success라는 단어, 뭐 runaway 아까 무슨 success 말씀해 주셨고 정말 많은 vocabulary 생각할 수 있는데 breakout song은 어떤 connotation을 가지고 있을까요?
It's when it's unexpected.
Unexpected.
Yes. When we did not expect something to be successful, we usually say that it's a breakout hit.
아, 그러니까 생각지도 못했는데 갑자기 확 떴다.
Yes.
Unexpected.
Right.
와, 그럴 때. And something that happens quite quickly.
Yes,
usually.
suddenly. Suddenly, and unexpected, but it becomes extremely popular.
오, 와, 그런 일이 몇 명에게나 일어나겠어요.
Yeah, right?
그죠? So there could be a breakout song, like it is in this in the article. How about breakout? There could be something else with breakout.
Yeah, breakout, like films. Breakout, a film could be a breakout hit. Well, this film was a breakout hit.
That's right.
Yeah. There could be a company could be, it could have a breakout success.
Ah, you know, yesterday we were talking about 인생 역전 as a 무모한 문장, and somebody gave us this idea from rags to riches.
Yes.
그 개천에서 보통 용난다 이렇게 우리가 말할 적에 그 속담을 좀 비유적으로 쓰고 나가는데 그렇게 갑자기 예기치 않았던 성공이 크게 터졌다.
Yeah.
Breakout. 라는 말을 그야말로 터졌다. Breakout song. So we are talking about this very song Golden from this movie K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yep.
And there's another interesting vocabulary word that I would like to briefly mention. Clinch.
Yes.
clinch도 어떤 게 차지하고 이뤘는데 그 clinch a deal,
Yeah.
clinch success
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, clinch is kind of like when you hold on to something. So when the song just it took when you take over the number one spot, you can say that it clinched the number one spot.
우리말로도 거머쥐었다라고 하는 것처럼 그냥 꽉 잡고 안 놔주는 거죠. clinch라는 단어도 이따 다시 들을 때 한번 귀를 쫑긋 기울여 보시기 바랍니다. So there's finally we get to talk about benchmark or benchmark chart.
Yeah. You might have heard this in the news a lot because when we talk about the stock market, we say that the Kospi is the benchmark stock market. So the benchmark is like the standard that's used to measure some sort of change. It could be in the asset, in an asset's value or some sort of metric from like over time. So it could be like a previous performance level. So some sort of change when we're measuring change, the standard that's used to measure that, we call that a benchmark. So for the Billboard, there are many different charts. But the one that's used as the standard for us to say, oh, this song's really popular, we usually refer to the Billboard 100, the Hot 100 chart. That's why we say that this one is the benchmark chart.
Out of all the other charts. 저는 처음에 빌보드밖에 없는 줄 알았어요.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. 하지만 그 무엇보다도 가장 기준이 된다. 여기에 오르면 성공한 거다. Measure success. 아까 말씀하신 것처럼 어떤 거 이렇게 기준이 되는 재기 위에 기준이 되는 거 benchmark라는 말 많이 쓰죠. Like a benchmark test 하면은 뭐 어떤 뭐 중간고사, 뭐 기말고사, SAT, 뭐 CSAT 같은 경우도 마찬가지고 benchmark price 같은 경우도 있겠고 짜장면, 커피 기준으로
usually like the Big Mac would
right.
be
Big Mac.
Yeah.
That too. So reference price 이렇게 말할 적이요. 그러니까 참고가 되는 benchmark chart. 를 얘기하고 있습니다. Okay, so Golden, the breakout song from animated film K-pop Demon Hunters, has clinched the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, marking the 9th K-pop song to rule the music industry's benchmark chart and the first by female artists. That's another interesting to notice here, female artists.
Yes. A heat wave gripping parts of Europe has pushed temperatures in southern France to 43 degrees Celsius, increasing the risks of wildfires and prompting the country's weather agency to place 12 departments on red alert.
최악의 폭염이 유럽 곳곳을 강타한 가운데 프랑스 남부에서는 기온이 섭씨 43도까지 오르면서 산불 위험이 증가하자 프랑스 기상청이 12개 지역에 폭염 적색 경보를 발령했습니다. 아, 누가 이제 프랑스 갔다 왔다 그러면은 좋았겠다 이런 말 하는데 요즘은 더웠겠다. 이런 말부터 나와요.
Yeah, so it's a severe heat wave that's gripping Europe. It's pushed temperatures to 43 degrees Celsius in southern France, and it's fueling wildfire risks from wine country to the Balkans. And as we mentioned, France has placed 12 departments on its highest red heat alert, with more than 40 others on orange, as records fell in cities like Bordeaux and Cognac. And in the wine region, they say hundreds of firefighters are still monitoring hotspots from a massive blaze that scorched 16,000 hectares last week. In other regions, Bulgaria is battling nearly 200 fires, including major outbreaks along its borders with Greece and Turkey. Hungary saw record weekend temperatures, and scientists are warning that Europe is warming nearly twice the global average, with 2025 on track to be among the hottest years on record. In the UK, a fourth summer heat wave is expected to peak at 33 degrees Celsius in London, with health alerts in place for vulnerable residents.
Wow. So it is said that Europe is becoming the world's fastest warming continent.
Yes.
Okay. So a heat wave has pushed temperatures in southern France to 43 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Pushed temperatures.
Right. If you push something, in this case, it means that you're pushing it up. So you're making the temperatures go up. You're making it become hotter.
그러니까 기온을 상승시키다. 그러니까 어떤 더위가 그러니까 이 heat wave라고 하는 것이 결국 온도를 상승시켰다. 뭐 당연한 얘기긴 하지만 이걸 이제 묘사함에 있어서 pushed temperatures to 뭐 몇몇 도까지 이렇게 말하고 있습니다.
Yeah.
Pushed temperatures in southern France to 43 degrees Celsius. That's pretty high.
43 is high. I've experienced, I think Seoul even went up to nearly 40 degrees, right? But 40 degrees, I think, without humidity is bearable. But it's only bearable when it dips down, when the temperatures dip down to like 20-something, something in the 20s, like the day after or so. But when it remains at about 40 degrees, it's quite unbearable.
Unbearable.
Yes.
참기가 참 어려운 그런 특히 이제 그 아주 moist 하거나 humid 할 경우에는 그렇습니다. So 그래서 they decided to place the 12 areas on red alert.
Right. So a red alert, it signifies a state of high readiness due to an imminent or ongoing emergency or dangerous situation. So it's the state of being ready to deal with a sudden dangerous situation.
Red gives you the kind of impression or image that, okay, something really dangerous is just about to happen.
Yes.
Red. 그러니까 적색 경보라고 해서 red alert인데 if you put them together and pronounce it like, you know, as if like one word, so red alert 이렇게 되네요.
Yeah.
So place these places on red alert. 이 장소들, 이 지역들을 red alert 이 지역으로 거기다가 이렇게 두었다, place 했다. 되겠습니다.
Yeah. Another way you could say this is they issued a red alert.
Yeah. Issue is another word that we're going to discuss a little bit later. Okay, so it's great to know. The issue a red alert. 그러니까 경보를 이렇게 발효하다, 뭐 발령하다 이런 뜻으로 그 쓰는 word가 또 있죠.
Yes.
말씀하신 것처럼 issue도 있겠습니다. 우선 place가 나오고 있는데요. So let's take a listen. A heat wave gripping parts of Europe has pushed temperatures in southern France to 43 degrees Celsius, increasing the risks of wildfires and prompting the country's weather agency to place 12 departments on red alert. All right, so we have another headline. Next one.
The world's busiest air route last year was Korea's domestic flight between Gimpo and Jeju, which carried more than 13 million passengers, according to the International Air Transport Association.
국제항공운송협회, 흔히 IATA라고 하는 이 기구에서 발표한 보고서에서 지난해 세계에서 가장 붐빈 항공 노선으로 바로 김포와 제주를 잇는 한국 국내선을 꼽았습니다. 1,300만 명이 넘는 승객이 이를 이용한 것으로 조사됐는데요. And I'm certainly not one of them.
Not last year for me either. But you would think that the busiest route might be New York to Los Angeles. Or maybe London to Paris, but no, it was here in Korea. So it was from Gimpo to Jeju, and it was the world's busiest air corridor in 2023 with more than 13 million passengers, and this is according to the International Air Transport Association's latest World Air Transport Statistics report. And they say that 9 out of the 10 busiest air routes were in the Asia-Pacific region. So as I mentioned, in North America, the busiest was New York to Los Angeles, and that was 2.2 million passengers. In Europe, surprisingly, it wasn't from Paris to London. It was actually Barcelona to Palma de Mallorca with 2 million. Latin America's busiest route was Bogota to Medellin at 3.8 million. And the report also found the United States retained its position as the world's largest aviation market with 876 million passengers in 2023, which was a 5.2% increase from the year before.
So we're talking about 13 million passengers, which is, there's no game really, no match. Compared to 2.2, did you say, in the U.S.?
Yeah. That's New York to Los Angeles.
네. 김포와 제주 is an island, of course.
Yes.
Of course, you can take a ferry and take a boat.
Yeah.
But still,
you can't drive to Jeju.
Of course.
Yeah.
그러니까.
But you can drive from New York to Los Angeles.
Exactly. 그러니까 뭐 다른 방법도 있으니까 또 그랬겠지만 한국은 제주도를 가기 위해서는 대부분 비행기를 이용을 하시죠.
Yeah.
배로 가는 경우도 있긴 있는데.
And I would say it's cheaper. It's cheap to fly from Jeju to Gimpo. Yeah.
그렇습니다. 자, 1,300만 명이 넘는 승객이 바로 지난해 한 해 동안, just last year alone, right? Just one
In
year.
2023, yeah.
My goodness. In 2023, so that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
이 2023년에
Yeah.
이렇게 많은 승객이 제주와 김포를 잇는 김포와 제주를 잇는 한국 국내선을 이용했다고 합니다.
Yeah.
그래서 the world's busiest air route라고 말할 만하네요. Air
Yes.
route, 항공 노선이란 말이 되겠죠.
Yeah.
So it's not international, it's domestic, right?
It's, yes.
그렇습니다. So shall I just move on and read the story again? Or
Yeah.
if you'd like to discuss a little more about the expressions.
Sure. So air route is the route. I think we pronounce it differently in different countries, but route or route, it can be pronounced both ways. But air route or air route, it's the designated path that an airplane or an aircraft would follow when traveling between specific locations in the sky or on the ground or different cities. And domestic would be referring to something that exists or occurs inside a particular country. So it would be something that's not foreign or international.
저 국내라고 할 때 domestic 얘기하고 있습니다. Okay, so here's the story once again. The world's busiest air route last year was Korea's domestic flight between Gimpo and Jeju, which carried more than 13 million passengers, according to the International Air Transport Association. All right, so let's move on to the final headline.
The final headline. The U.S. has begun issuing a commemorative 25-cent coin bearing the image of Stacey Park Milburn, a Korean-American activist for disability rights.
미국에서 한국계 여성 장애인 인권 운동가인 스테이시 박 밀번의 그 활동을 기념하면서 그녀의 모습을 새겨넣은 25센트 동전이 발행됐습니다. It's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal. So it's the quarter that we're talking about.
Yes.
It's a commemorative quarter, and it honors Korean American disability rights activist Stacey Park Milburn, and it makes her the first person of Korean origin to appear on U.S. currency. So this was issued on August 11th under the American Women Quarters program, and the coin depicts Milburn in her electric wheelchair addressing a crowd. She was born in 1987 to a Korean mother and a U.S. military father, and Milburn lived with congenital muscular dystrophy, and she became an influential advocate for disability justice, founding the Disability Justice Culture Club in California, and she worked to champion the rights of people of color, immigrants, LGBTQ plus individuals, and the homeless. And Milburn, whose Korean name was Park Ji-hye, is the 19th honoree in the program, which recognizes trailblazing American women in various fields. She passed away in 2020 at the age of 33.
Oh, that's sad.
Yes.
Okay. So she started out this sort of activity at the age of 16. That's quite
Yeah,
young.
she was very young. So she is a trailblazer.
trailblazer 그렇습니다. 어떤 그 선봉자고 어떤 이제 처음으로 시작한 어떤 그런 길을 닦은 그런 사람이다라고 할 때 trailblazer라는 말을 하게 되죠. 선봉에 서서 어떤 걸 닦아냈다라고 할 때. 자, 지금 캐런 선생님과 함께하고 있습니다. 스테이시 파크 밀번 그렇군요. 불과 32살 나이에 33살 나이에 이 세상을 떴다고 하지만 but her achievements and her hard work still lives on. 네. 자, 그래서 they decided to issue this commemorative coin. 아까 우리가 그 place라는 말을 했었는데 place였나요? 그죠? Place these areas on red
Yes,
alert 얘기하면서. So we were talking about that expression red alert or the phrase. So you can also say issue the red alert, right?
Right. So they also issued this coin, a commemorative coin, right? So it was created or made in honor or to celebrate this particular occasion or this particular person. So it's a commemorative coin, and a commemorative coin is a special coin that's been issued, as we just talked about, to honor or celebrate a particular event. In this case, it's a particular person, or it could be also a particular place.
그렇죠. 바로 이 특정 인물 혹은 특정 뭐 어떤 대상이 되는 어떤 장소가 될 수도 있고 그걸 기념하기 위해서 만들어진 거다라고 할 때 commemorative라는 단어를 앞에 붙일 수가 있습니다. commemorative coin, that's what we're talking about here. So you issue these coins to commemorate or celebrate or in honor of the person here. So you can also issue visa. 저는 항상 이슈 생각하면 비자를
Yes,
생각하는데 비자를 발급하다라고 할 때 이슈. 그래서 여권 보면은 그 거기 발급 날짜 뭐 이렇게 써 있는 거 보면 이슈라는 단어를 볼 수가 있거든요. So this coin is bearing the image of Stacey Park Milburn.
When something bears the image of something, it shows the image of something, or you can also use this expression when you are describing a resemblance or likeness between one thing and another.
How about person then?
Yeah, it could be a person. When someone bears the image of someone, when you are saying that this image bears the image of someone, or this person bears the image of someone, then you can say that this person resembles another person.
I see.
Yeah.
그러니까 어떤 걸 담고 있다. 보통 우리가 have나 has the image of 뭐뭐 이라고 할 것 같은데 bear를 쓰는 경우가 참 많이 있다는 거죠. B-E-A-R이 되겠습니다. Bearing the image of this person. 그러니까 이분의 모습을 담고 있는 이 주화를 말하고 있네요. commemorative coin, 기념 주화를 말하고 있습니다. 사람 혹은 사물에게도 다 쓸 수 있군요. 만약 그 유사점이 있다라고 하거나 혹은 서로 그 비슷한 점을 담아내고 있다라고 할 적에도 bear 쓸 수 있다는 거. 잘 기억하겠습니다.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the headline once again. The U.S. has begun issuing a commemorative 25-cent coin bearing the image of Stacey Park Milburn, a Korean-American activist for disability rights가 되겠습니다.
Yeah.
네.
Can I just make a quick correction
yes, please.
for our fourth article that we talked about, the Gimpo Jeju? It was for 2024. I made
그렇죠.
yes, and I kept saying 2023 because one of the articles it had a mistake in it, but the statistics was for the year 2024, so for last year.
So this is last year.
Yes,
바로
last
작년에 어떤 기록이 되겠군요.
Yes.
가장 the business route 얘기할죠. air route 얘기했었는데 알겠습니다. 자, 우리 뉴스캐스터 캐런과 함께 오늘 headlines 자세히 살펴봤습니다.
Exports in the information and communications technology sector last month totaled $22.19 billion, the highest July figure on record, according to government data.
지난달 우리나라 정보통신기술 즉 ICT 산업 분야 수출이 221억 9천만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 30조 7,465억 원으로 역대 7월 수출 중 최대 실적을 기록했다는 소식입니다. 네.
Yeah. So $22.19 billion is up 14.5% from a year earlier, the previous July. So certainly a very big jump from a year earlier. And obviously, semiconductors, cell phones, communication technology is very big in terms of the portion of Korean GDP exports and stuff. It's what we do in Korea. So very important numbers and perhaps very optimistic.
Right. So semiconductor exports, they also jumped as well.
Yes,
네.
absolutely. It's gone, especially going to the U.S., 11.9% on the year. On the other hand, those going to China have actually fallen 5.6%.
Right. You just mentioned three major sort of items in terms of ICT industry in Korea. So semiconductor, cell phones, and something else. But as for the mobile phones or cell phones, the increase, the export, bless you. Okay, the export has decreased by 21.7%. 그러니까 반도체 수출은 31.4% 이렇게 향상한 반면에 휴대폰의 수출은 21.7% 하락했다라는 소식도 함께 접하고 있습니다. But overall, ICT의 그 수입도 9.8% 이렇게 올라갔다는 그런 increase, 증가했다는 그런 얘기가 있군요. Increased 9.8% on year. I see. So information and communications technology sector.
Yeah, when we're talking about technology, we're usually thinking about things that are scientific, that are perhaps modern, things that are, used probably electronically to help our everyday lives. So something that is created by science. And in this particular case, we're talking about things that use or offer information and communication. Right. So we talk about semiconductor chips are the things that make cell phones and computers and things like that operate. Yeah, it's what makes them work. So it also helps with cell phones, as mentioned, in terms of communication tools. So it's all of those things inclusive.
네, 그렇습니다. 그러니까 모든 이제 그런 여러 가지 그 전자 관련된 전자통신 관련된 것들을 all things inclusive 다 이렇게 포함해서 말하게 되는 것이 Information and Communications Technology Center. 예전에 우리가 IT, Information and Technology까지만 알아도 okay, that's good enough. 라고 했는데 이제는 조금 it's getting a little bit expansive 돼서 지금 Information and Communications Technology Sector, ICT라고 말하게 되는데요. 자, 보면 이제 공식적으로 기록된 것을 보자면 이런 말이 나오게 되는데 So the highest July figure on record according to government data라고 합니다.
Yeah, and when we're talking about something on record, it means that it has been recorded or we have the information as a log or someone written it down or entered it into a computer for us to remember for later on, perhaps forever or indefinitely. It's something that, we have this information that you can look at later on.
So it's official, basically.
Yeah, an official piece of information. And, we hear about things like the Guinness Book of World Records. So these are like really special records. So somebody did something that is extraordinary. In this particular case, we're talking about, just export figures or numbers in terms of sales figures and stuff like that. But, these can be anything. And sometimes it can be, as an example, it can be a quote, something that somebody said. We'll use that as well, especially if you're a news reporter and you're interviewing somebody that says something that might be special or very interesting or controversial. And you might say, okay, is that on record?
Is that on record?
Yeah. And the opposite, because somebody might say in the interview, okay, this is off the record.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, this is off the record. Don't quote me on this or don't ever tell anybody that I said this, but let me give you some information. Here's the facts or here's the information. But if you say that, Lee Bo-young 선생님이 said this, no, I never said that. And you whisper later on, hey, that was off the record.
Off the record. 그렇죠. Off the record라고 we even say that in Korean too.
Okay.
그러니까 off the record라고 하게 되는데 그러니까 기록에 올라 있다라고 하는 거 on record, 즉 공적으로 기록된 사실임을 말하게 되죠. 반대로 off 이때는 off record 하잖아. off the record라고 해야 되겠죠. off the record 하게 되면 그냥 조금 공적으로 이제 뭐 기록되게끔 하는 것은 아니지만 이제 이거 알아두게끔 슬쩍 말씀드립니다라고 할 때 off the record 이렇게 말할 수가 있겠고. And that just reminds me another vocabulary word that used to tell me all the time when we were doing the news together many years ago. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah. So this is something that news reporters are taught to say. And it's when you have information, but it's not confirmed. So, if somebody is accused of doing something, then they allegedly did this. As a broadcaster, you can't say that they did because then they can sue you for defamation because they're not actually convicted. So we would say allegedly this happened, meaning that it's been reported or people are saying that it did, but we can't confirm it.
그러니까 아직 confirm 된 것은 아니지만 이렇게 알려졌습니다라고 할 때 allegedly allegedly 맞나요? Allegedly. 네, 이렇게 말했던 그런 표현도 역시 journalism English에서 많이 나오게 되죠. 자, 지금 on record 역시 확실하게 많이 우리가 듣게 되는 그런 표현 되겠습니다. 공적으로 기록됐다라는 말이 되겠죠. 자, 이런 표현들이 들어가 있는 headlines 다시 한번 들어볼까요? Exports in the information and communications technology sector last month totaled $22.19 billion, the highest July figure on record, according to government data. Okay, so let's move on to our second one.
About half of all fires in Korea between 2015 and 2024 were attributed to human carelessness, exceeding other leading causes such as faulty wiring and overloaded circuits, according to the National Fire Agency.
2015년부터 2024년까지 지난 10년간 국내에서 발생한 전체 화재 중 부주의로 인한 화재가 거의 절반을 차지해 배선 결함이나 회로 과부하 같은 다른 요인보다 높은 비율을 나타냈다고 소방청이 발표했습니다. carelessness, 부주의 때문에 인한 화재가 다른 요인보다 훨씬 높은 비율을 나타냈다는 거군요. Please tell us more about it.
Yeah, the frustrating thing with that is when you talk about carelessness, it's something that we did wrong that we could have, controlled. And for the most part, they're saying 49.5% or almost 50% of fire, it started through carelessness, which is obviously very unfortunate. Other things, faulty wiring as mentioned, or electrical issues count for 23.9%. Mechanical causes are 10.5%. And when they talk about carelessness, a lot of those actually are cigarettes that have not been discarded correctly. 30.6% is because of discarded cigarettes, followed by 16.3% of fires because of cooking. Meanwhile, 13.4% is neglecting a small spark or a flame, while while 12.9% were caused by burning garbage.
아, 그러니까 제대로 담뱃불을 끄지 않아서 발생한 이런 불. 아까 좀 carelessness, human carelessness. 그러니까 사람들이 저지르는 그런 부주의로 인한 화재를 설명하시면서 담뱃불을 제대로 끄지 않은 바람에 확 불이 붙었다라는 말을 fires were ignited by discarded cigarettes라고 하게 되는군요. 네, 정말 you can't be too careful 이란 표현이 또 생각납니다.
Absolutely.
네, 그러니까 꺼진 불도 다시 보자라고 우리가 흔히 말하게 되는데 그게 바로 you cannot be too careful. 아무리 조심해도 지나치지 않다라고 말하게 되죠. 자, 그래서 지금 원인을 얘기하면서 이런 표현이 나오게 되는데 그 비동사가 나오게 되고 attributed to 뭐뭐뭐. 보통 어떤 원인을 설명할 때 많이 나오게 되죠.
Yeah, when we're talking about attributions or something being attributed to something, it's the reason for something happening. Why did it happen? Well, it's because of this. It was attributed to this.
아, 그러니까 it was caused by something else라고 할 때 그걸 이제 뭐뭐의 원인이 있다고 밝혀진다. 뭐 이런 식으로 말할 때 여기서도 about half of all fires were attributed to 자, 그 원인이 무엇이냐면은 human carelessness 이렇게 연결이 되고 있습니다. 자, 그래서 it's a lot more than just faulty wiring and overloaded circuits.
Yeah,
faulty?
and something that is faulty is something that is not working properly. Something that it might be broken or not working at 100%. And usually when it says faulty wiring, then it's talking about a wire that might be exposed and therefore it shorts and creates a spark or a fire. And, certainly longer ago, a lot of fires actually did start because of faulty wiring or different things like that.
그렇군요. 그러니까 faulty 하면은 it's my fault. No, it's your fault. 근데 그 fault 라고 할 때 fault잖아요. 잘못이라고 할 때 거기 y를 붙였는데 faulty 뭐뭐 하게 되면 결함이 있는 불량한 뭐뭐 아까 배선 결함 얘기하면서 faulty wiring 이런 식으로 우리가 그 맥락을 좀 이해할 수 있을 것 같습니다. Okay, here's the story. I guess once again. About half of all fires in Korea between 2015 and 2024 were attributed to human carelessness, exceeding other leading causes such as faulty wiring and overloaded circuits, according to the National Fire Agency. 자, 훨씬 윗돈다. 라고 할 때 exceed라는 단어도 we get to see this word quite often in journalism English.
Eastman Kodak, the 133-year-old U.S. company that pioneered one of the first consumer cameras in the 1880s, has warned investors it may not survive much longer due to insufficient liquidity to meet its debt obligations.
1880년대에 일반 소비자용 카메라를 최초로 개발한 133년 역사의 미국 사진기업 이스만 코닥이 바로 그 최근 부채를 상환할 유동성이 부족해지면서 문 닫을 위기에 처한 것으로 알려졌습니다. Oh, that's sad.
Certainly. I mean, it's a company that where its name, Kodak, certainly is synonymous with photography and certainly film.
Sure. Such an iconic company, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I've noticed actually, like I've seen like the logo being on like
yes,
T-shirts. And other stores as of late. So I guess, they're doing the best they can to survive in any which way.
참 아쉽다고밖에 말할 수 없을 것 같은데 I thought they were doing pretty well though. They get back on track with all those T-shirts and some new like pop-up stores here and there. 그래서 I think they were coming up with some new sort of products with their own logo and everything. 하지만 they were still suffering a lot.
I think the ironic thing is that, they were doing amazing because of the film and saying that, 90% of film in the 70s was made by Kodak. But the funny thing is that one of the things that's been killing them these days has been a technology that they created, that being the first digital camera in 1975. And that's really what's been destroying their company as of late.
그렇죠. 그 디지털 카메라를 거의 최초로 만들다시피 한 회사가 바로 이 회사인데도 불구하고 그 필름 산업을 놓을 수가 없기 때문에 오히려 제가 들은 바에 의하면은 그 디지털 카메라 산업을 오히려 더 육성시키지 않는 쪽으로 했다는 얘기도 있습니다. 그래서 유명한 Kodak moment라는 표현도 있을 정도로 영어에 말이죠.
Yeah, that was one of their iconic commercial moments or taglines that they would do, and people remember that line. So it's like, a Kodak moment. Like, here's a moment that you want a picture of, or that you remember this moment because it's such a great, long-lasting memory of yours, and you think, that's, I wish I had a photo of that moment.
이건 꼭 사진으로 저장을 해야 할 아주 중요한 순간이야라고 말하는 것을 This is a Kodak moment. Kodak 이렇게 말해요. Kodak moment라는 그런 표현이 있을 정도로 아주 아이코닉 그런 컴퍼니였는데 자, 자세한 스토리를 들어보겠습니다. So would you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so, this is a company that dominated for so many years. They're saying that roughly $500 million of debt is what they have right now that they need to pay up. We talked about insufficient liquidity in the story as well. And liquidity, by the way, meaning money or cash that you're able to spend. And because of this $500 million in debt that they have, that's why it looks like they're going to have some very big financial problems and maybe fold as a company, perhaps.
그렇군요. 자, 지금 very big financial problem 말씀 주셨는데 아까 우리가 얘기 나눴던 것처럼 이 회사로 말할 것 같으면 133년의 역사를 가지고 있어서 가장 처음으로 그 일반인들이 사용할 수 있는 소비자용 카메라를 개발한 것으로 그 당시에 이제 선구자적 역할을 했다라고 해서 pioneered one of the first consumer cameras back in the 1880s라고 합니다. So pioneer is used as a verb here.
Yeah, typically we think of it as a noun, as a person, right?
Yes.
A pioneer is someone that creates or uses something for the first time. And in the same way, when we use it as a verb, they pioneered something, then once again, it's showing that they created something or made something popular for the masses.
그렇죠. 그러니까 pioneer, 선구자라는 뜻도 되고 pioneer 뭐뭐뭐 하게 되면 뭐뭐뭐를 개척했다라는 뜻으로 동사로도 쓸 수가 있겠습니다. So do you happen to have any sample sentence where you can use this word pioneer?
You could say that someone pioneered a certain type of music, maybe. Like you could say like Run DMC pioneered kind of like rock rap, So like they created this type of rap that mixed with rock and roll. So they, sort of created their own genre that other people did. Or you could say like Nirvana pioneered grunge music. So when you create something or kind of, are known to be famous for being one of the first to do something.
그러니까 pioneer some sort of like new genre 이렇게 말할 적에도 그 pioneer를 쓸 수 있겠고 you can pioneer some sort of new type of art 를 말할 적에도 that's of course what you were talking about too. 그러니까 pioneer 이렇게 여러 가지 그 상황에서 쓸 수가 있겠군요. And you were briefly mentioning something about insufficient liquidity. Insufficient.
Yeah, when something is insufficient, then it is not enough compared to what you need. So I mentioned before about liquidity, meaning the money or cash that you have available to spend. So it's saying that is insufficient. So they don't have enough money to pay off the debts that they have.
그러니까 유동성 부족 이렇게 말하는 것으로 insufficient liquidity를 말하고 있습니다. suffice 하게 되면 보통 이 정도로 충분해요. 충족시킵니다. 어떤 기준을 할 때 suffice라는 단어를 또 쓰게 되는데 그 비롯된 혹은 related word가 되겠죠. insufficient, INSUFFICIENT 뭔가 부족하다라는 말이 되는데 그 뒤에 liquidity, liquid 하면 이게 뭔가 흘러가는 걸 생각하잖아요. 그 액체라고 말할 때 그죠? 근데 liquidity 자산의 유동성을 말하고 있습니다. 아까 money, cash that you're able to spend라고 말씀하셨는데 liquidity, insufficient liquidity 때문에 they're in a very bad situation 얘기하고 있습니다. And here's the story once again. Eastman Kodak, a 133-year-old U.S. company that pioneered one of the first consumer cameras in the 1880s, has warned investors that it may not survive much longer due to insufficient liquidity to meet its debt obligations. Okay, so let's move on to our next headline, shall we?
Italy has granted final approval for a project to construct the world's longest suspension bridge, linking the island of Sicily with the mainland region of Calabria.
네. 자, 이탈리아 정부가 본토의 칼라브리아와 시칠리아 섬을 연결하는 세계 최장 현수교 건설 프로젝트를 최종 승인했습니다. So why is it so special?
Well, it's going to be a very, very long bridge in terms of a suspension bridge. And suspension bridges, they typically aren't as long because it takes a lot of material and wiring and technology to create it. So there's also a seismic area of the Mediterranean. It's where there's a lot of seismic activity, meaning earthquakes and, things like that. But they're saying that this bridge, obviously, if they're going to build it, would still be able to withstand most of the seismic activity in the area. So obviously there's going to be a lot of good quality engineering that goes into this.
So the idea of constructing this huge bridge that came about like many, many years ago already, but they had to stop it at a certain point because of the reasons that you just mentioned, like seismic all the reasons and everything. 그러니까 지진이 워낙 자주 일어날 수 있는 그런 가능성이 높기 때문에 이 현수교의 건설 자체 그 프로젝트를 잠시 조금 이거 좀 좋은 생각이 아니다라고 하다가 so they decided, okay, why not just do it? 있다고 합니다.
Yeah, and they still are getting a little bit of pushback from some of the people on the Sicilian side because, it's costing a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
And I think, some of them are concerned about the seismic activity and things like that of the area.
Right. But anyhow, Italy has granted final approval for this project.
Yeah, and when you grant something, then you're saying you're giving the approval or you're saying it's okay, you're allowed to do something. Usually, we talk about government grants as an example. They're saying, I'm going to give you this so that you can make your situation better. But it's something from an official organization like the government.
Some authority.
An authority that usually offers this or approves it. So when we're saying that the grant has final approval, then it had some other hoops and hurdles to go through, but now it's at the final stage and it's received that approval.
많은 이제 그 산을 넘어야 됩니다. 그러니까 hoops and hurdles 말했지만 서커스에서 하듯이 굉장히 많은 그 앞으로 조금 이렇게 거쳐야 할 부분들이 있지만 그래도 어쨌든 정부는 최종 허가를 내주었다는 소식입니다. 그러니까 give라는 그 의미가 바탕에 깔려 있지만 어떤 정부 어떤 기관이라던가 조금 권위 있는 기관에서 어떤 걸 내준다, 허가를 내준다. 무슨 또 그 뭐 subsidy 같은 어떤 government subsidy, 정부 지원금 같은 것을 이렇게 준다라고 할 때 give보다는 grant를 쓰더라고요. 그죠? G-R-A-N-T. So grant final approval, 최종 허가를 이렇게 내어준다. G-R-A-N-T 쓰이고 있습니다. So 현수교, 여기서 말하고 있는 것은 suspension bridge, 뭔가 매달려 있는 듯한, 그러니까 hanging 되어 있는 그런 이미지인데요.
Yeah, exactly. And I think on the Han River, I think the new World Cup bridge, I think is a suspension bridge. And I think the Olympic
That's right.
Olympic bridge is also a suspension bridge. So it'll usually have like a very, very high tower that goes much higher than the bridge. And then it'll have lots of cables and wires that go down to the bridge and hold it up. So yeah, much like you mentioned, if something is suspended, then it's kind of just hanging in mid-air or in mid-space, that it's just kind of there.
It's just kind of there. That's right.
It's not like neither too high or too low, but it's just kind of like, it's in the middle.
그렇죠.
In a good amount of space.
그러니까 hanging 되어 있는 거죠. 그 큰 타워를 세워서 거기서 어떤 그 와이어나 아까 그 cord, did you say?
Yeah, it could be cables.
Cables,
yeah.
right. 이용해서 그 다리를 이렇게 매달리고 있다라고 할 때 매달고 있다. 바로 그 suspension bridge. 그래서 왜 여성도 마찬가지지만 그 허리띠 그 벨트 대신에 suspender 바지 흘러내려가지 말라고 메고 있는 것도 suspender가 되는 거잖아요.
Yeah.
자, suspension bridge 현수교에 대한 이야기였습니다. 자, Italy has granted final approval for a project to construct the world's longest suspension bridge linking the island of Sicily with the mainland region of Calabria. All right, let's move on to the final headline.
A team of astronomers has identified the most distant black hole ever confirmed, a cosmic heavyweight that formed just 500 million years after the Big Bang, when the universe was only about 3% of its current age.
지금까지 확인된 것 중 가장 오래된 블랙홀이 천문학자들에 의해 발견됐습니다. 이 블랙홀은 빅뱅 직후 5억 년 시점, 즉 우주가 지금 현재 나이에 3%밖에 지나지 않았을 무렵에 형성된 것으로 보인다고 합니다. Wow, another huge discovery.
Yeah, and speaking of huge, it's a huge black hole as well. So, yeah, it's very, very large. They're estimating the weight of it to be 300 million times the mass of our sun. So if you took our sun and multiply it by 300 million times, that's how big this black hole is.
네, 이 블랙홀이 얼마나 huge한가 하면은 300 million times, 그러니까 3억 배나 크다는 거잖아요. Million times the mass of our sun, 태양 크기보다도 어마어마합니다. So it's equivalent to nearly half the mass of all the stars in the black hole's host galaxy.
So a black hole is usually in the middle of its galaxy, and a galaxy has, millions of stars. So if you were to take all of those stars and add it up, then, it'd be nearly half of the mass of all those stars put together.
그러니까 모든 별 행성들을 이렇게 합쳤을 때보다 훨씬 더 크다. 그것의 반 정도를 말하고 있군요. Nearly half the mass라고 하니까요. 자, 그래서 cosmic heavyweight. 우리가 보통 heavyweight champion 이런 말은 참 많이 해봤는데 여기서도 비슷한 의미가 되겠습니다. A cosmic heavyweight that formed just about 500 million years after the Big Bang. 자, cosmic heavyweight 어떤 뜻일까요?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I think the image that you get in your head when you think of a heavyweight is very big because we think of fighting and there's a lot of different weight classes in boxing, let's say. Like there's
I thought of wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling as well, but there's, usually the different weight categories will be there'll be like a featherweight, a straw weight, a middleweight. There's probably about 15 or 20 different weight categories in boxing. So at the very, very top of that is the heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Yeah, so it's very large, and you have that image of something that's big and strong. And when we talk about a cosmic heavyweight, we're talking about things from space that are outside of Earth, and something that is very, very large out in space are black holes and stars.
So this is a figurative sort of expression, would you say? Or do you tend to use this heavyweight in other daily language?
You can use heavyweight for describing anything. Like you could say that someone is a heavyweight in a particular industry as well, right? You could say that the heavyweights are getting involved now if one of the big companies of that industry wants to be involved. Let's say if there's a construction going on and one of the bigger construction companies makes a bid as well for a particular land, then you could say that Lee Bo-young is an EBS heavyweight.
네, 이럴 줄 알았어. 우리 작가님 is being so playful this morning. 그러니까 우리가 어제 사실 우리가 weigh in 이라는 표현을 방송 중에 했거든요.
Yeah.
그러니까 뭐 훈수를 둔다든지 혹은 뭔가 의견을 보태서 좀 무게를 실어준다 할 때 weigh in이라 썼는데 무게에 대한 표현이 참 이렇게 여러 가지가 있습니다. 그러니까 heavyweight라고 하면은 내가 다이어트 해야 되는 줄 어떻게 알았지? 지금 굉장히 비중이 큰 사람을 가리켜서 그러니까 big shots라고 할 때도 heavyweight을 쓸 수 있나요? Key figures in a particular industry?
Yeah, someone that's like a leader or someone that's sort of feared as well. Like someone that, because when you think of a heavyweight champion or a heavyweight, then you'd rather fight a lightweight or a middleweight or go against as an opponent. You'd prefer to, have a lightweight or a middleweight. So to have a heavyweight as an opponent, it's definitely scarier, more intimidating.
조금 겁을 먹을 만한 그런 위협적인 상대, 너무나 비중이 크기 때문에 영향력이 있기 때문에 heavyweights라고 할 수 있군요. 여기서는 어떤 질량을 가리켜 말하고 있습니다. 무거운 질량이 우주 전체다. Cosmic heavyweight. 자, 그래서 현재 나의 current age라는 말도 나오고 있었고, 뭐 current age 같은 경우는 우리가 자주 많이 쓰는 표현이니까요. So here's the story once again. A team of astronomers has identified the most distant black hole ever confirmed, a cosmic heavyweight that formed just 500 million years after the Big Bang, when the universe was only about 3% of its current age. 네, 자 지금까지 우리 제이슨과 함께 오늘의 헤드라인스를 한번 살펴보았습니다.